What's happening? John from Wild Punk Band Wrecked. It's Friday night, January 14th. It's getting cold. I guess winter's coming finally. So anyway, this is going to be volume 2 of my videos on guitar tone. As far as our band goes, got back to the studio last night, working on 2 new originals, a couple covers. So hopefully, I'm thinking by the end of the winter, we hopefully will have another recording started at least, and some more shows booked. But right now with the COVID thing, who knows, you know? So anyways, like I said, volume 1 of the guitar tone series of videos I did when I started. Volume 1 was about guitar picks, where it starts, tone starts, and this one's going to be the next element that I see in achieving the guitar tones, and that's guitar strings. I don't really get into too much into the weeds on brands of strings and all this other stuff. As far as I'm concerned, there's only a handful of deviations, of variables with guitar strings. It's a steel string, you know, whether it's wrapped in nickel, like the lower bass strings, whether they have the pure nickel wrapping or whatever. Whether you buy the elixir coated strings, that's another variable, or the stainless steel strings, chrome strings, and then you have flat wound strings also. I use just regular plain steel strings. I don't feel the need to really get too much into anything else. I use these. These are, if you grew up on Long Island, you know these are in every guitar store going. These are D'Addario XLs, 11 gauge. Before I get into the gauge, I'll get you a little bit about D'Addario strings. They're based out of one of their plants is right here in Farmingdale. I'm not too sure if they manufacture strings there, but they definitely package them. But I like to support local places. And if you were a guitar player, again, you saw these in every fucking store going. And this is what was most popular, and it's honestly for my money, it's the best guitar string going. Again, they're just metal steel strings. They sound great, and they do what they're supposed to do. As far as other brands I go, these are Ernie Power Slinkies. Again, 11 gauges. I use these sometimes too. Very similar to the D'Addarios, but again, the D'Addarios seem to sound the best for the longest time. These Ernie balls sound great, but I've found that they get tarnished, and they kind of sound dead a little quicker than the D'Addarios. Some of the other brands I use would be DR strings, pure nickel wound, GHS strings, burnished nickel, which is a nice polished string. They feel great, sound great for the first few times, but again, for my money, for the longevity of strings and for just the overall value, D'Addarios. Now again, going back to guitar string gauge, I use 11s. I use 11s on all my Les Pauls, all my guitars with a shorter scale, and again, the scale from the nut to the bridge. On those guitars, the Gibson scale length, which is I think is 24 3/4 or 24 5/8, somewhere around there. I use 11 gauges, and they just feel great. They bend great. I love them. If I'm playing a Fender, which is typically a 25 and then change scale length, if you use 10s, they kind of feel like 11s. So I'll use 10s on my Fenders sometimes, or I'll use 11s. Not that big of a deal. When it comes to the Gretches, I use 12s because they're more resonant with the hollow body. Even on my 335, I'll use 12s too, because it's a little more of an acoustic sound. And the greater the mass of the string, the better, the more sound you're gonna get. Now, people are gonna debate left and right about string gauges and string materials. I just tell you what works for me, what I've found over the past bunch of years that I like to use. Guys like Billy Gibbons, I think, use like 8 gauge strings, which are like real thin, and I don't even know if he even plays live anymore, and he's old as shit, so he probably can't even bend strings, but he didn't use 8s back in the 70s. He probably used 11s. Stevie Ray Vaughan used 12s, you know. Again, to me, the more material there, the better. And I'm not going to get it really into how the electric guitar works. You could find somebody smarter than me to explain it to you. But anyway, it's how the string reacts with the pickup. This pickup here is out of my Les Paul. This is what came stock. I think it's a 490 or something. What a pickup is basically is just these pole pieces of magnets, and it's magnets with copper wire wrapped around it. That creates a magnetic field. If you know anything about electricity, induces a current down the wire and so forth. So as the string is above, that string gets magnetized, you have the magnetic field of this, and that's what creates the tone. Okay, so again, I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, but that's how it is. As far as the pickups go, for tone, there's so many different manufacturers of pickups, and I'll get into that in a bit. But again, the string reacts to the pickups, and you're good to go. The Darios, all day. Like I said, GHS, Ernie balls, DRs, no problem. The only time I'll differ from that is if I'm playing, which I don't do with Rect, and I haven't done in a while. If I'm playing open tunings, if I'm playing like an open G tuning on my Telecaster, I like to go to a set that Fender makes, which is it used to be a standard set for them. Now it's a Jimi Hendrix signature set. It's so the top string, the low E, is a 38. And the high E is a 10. Now, what that does is, that means that low string's a 38, because you drop it down to D. It's a lighter gauge, and it has a little more tension on it, it stays in tune more, and it's snappy. If you detune, like this string, it's a 49, the low E. If you detune that, it gets a little bit sloppy, a little bit, a little bit loose sounding. So with a 38 gauge string on there, it sounds great. Again, for open G, which I don't do with Rect. And I haven't done in years, to be honest with you, probably about 10, 15 years now. But anyways, going back to the tone, that's where it starts with the pick, the strings, and then the pickup. Now, I'm not going to get into pickups too much. There's tons and tons of manufacturers of pickups. There's active pickups. There's passive pickups like these. I play passive pickups. A lot of my buddies play active, which is basically the same thing with a powered by a 9-volt battery, so it's almost like a onboard boost or preamp. I don't get involved with that, just passive pickups for me. My only requirement for pickups is I need a good one. I've had guitars in the past where the pickups were just garbage, like those. I had a Platinum Series BC Rich, and the pickup sounded like shit. And you'd always tell the pickup, and it's hard to see on this, and I'm either way, but the wire that's wrapped around these pole pieces, copper. The grade of the copper is what matters. The one that I had, my BC Rich, the copper was almost pink, like a pot metal copper. So it qualifies as copper as if you test it, but it's not a great quality grade copper. So the more expensive the pickup, the better the copper you're going to get. The better the pole pieces and the general construction of it. When you see the Lawler pickups or those Bill Lawrence pickups, some of those real boutique guys, from way back when. Seymour Duncan's, which I have in my my Les Paul, they're great. DiMarzio's I used to have in my BC Riches. I don't like to screw with the guitar too much with modifications. I get that from my father. My father never liked to modify his cars, he liked to keep everything stock. So I kind of do that too with the guitars. I just find a guitar that sounds good, and I just keep playing one until I find one that I like, and I don't fuck with it too much. These pickups over time, they lose magnetism, over we're talking 20 years, and you might want to swap them out. But I don't see the need for in any of the guitars I currently play. So there's that. I mean, it's also these used to be cheap. I mean, you used to get pickups for like $50. Now they're like probably about $1.25. But anyways, that's enough out of that. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, it was volume 2 of the tone. I might get into a volume 3 of some other stuff, but after you have the picks, the strings, the pickups, the rest is pretty much up to interpretation. Get yourself a good guitar, get yourself a tube amplifier, and you're off to the races. So thank you for watching. Have a great night, and we should be back hopefully within a couple of weeks with some shows and hopefully some more original tunes. Until then, we'll just keep on going. Thank you for watching.